I had to say continue before I could go on, and here we are. Can I get a big hey from everyone?
Hey.
Hi.
Welcome to the SDEB Hayes Power Lunch Networking event. I'm your host, Milo Shapiro, public speaking coach, and this is the San Diego Equality Business Association with the new logo over on the right. I'm blending a little of each today. Eventually, I'll have all of my branding up to date on the new stuff that we've got going on. It is the Chamber of Commerce for San Diego's LGBT plus community and its allies. We love having our allies here, so thank you to all of you. Please now at this time, please remute yourselves so that we have a chance to have that quiet in the background and not hear the phones ring and the cat jump on your lap and all of that stuff. Welcome to our July meeting. Everybody's out and about celebrating that it is July. To the rest of the world, Pride was last month, but here in San Diego, this is most definitely the month that feels like Pride, especially this weekend where everything is getting crazy out there in the streets because we're going to make up for the lack of parades by just being in the streets and the bars constantly and lines down the block to get into places. As we do try and get used to the fact that that Delta variant is out there, we're still out and about, but hopefully protecting ourselves in the process when need be. So July is looking a little bit more like this is the first time we're actually back into the bars. I had hoped to get some pictures of last night's event to put here, but at least things are starting to look a little bit more like this again, which is so sweet. But as we do move forward and start to do more live events, we're planning to continue the Power Lunch at least through the end of the year, hopefully into next year. For those people who say, you know what, I just need a little bit more of a break in my day, but not be driving around and things like that. So we have that taken care of with the Power Lunch. I think there's going to be an initial rush of, I want to see people constantly in person. And then people are going to start to realize, it's a lot of driving, maybe a little more online too, and we'll have a blend. So at this point, if you haven't turned your chat on, we encourage you to, in case somebody else at the meeting wants to reach out to you. That's always good to have. And to turn on the participants window. I will explain in a little while why that becomes important. We are going to be putting this on YouTube, so be aware of this, and that YouTube will end up on our Facebook page so that people can play it back after the event. So if you're watching Ashley, if you think, oh my gosh, there's 6 people who need to see what Ashley had to say, you can refer them to the Facebook page, and it's usually up in a few hours, certainly by the next day. Our sponsor today is Oseas Villatoro with his new store in Hillcrest. We're really happy that he got this off the ground. So if you're looking for interesting t-shirts or unusual pants or some fun underwear, someplace to go. And I can't make any jokes about getting into his pants because his partner is on the line today, but we will make the most of that. So check it out. It's right across the street from the Big Flag in Hillcrest in a little mall that's opened up there. So check him out. And if you'd like to be considered for being a sponsor of a future month's event, please let us know, info@sdeba.org. Helping us out today are some of these people. I've got Jeremy on the phone. Brenda is our timer for today. Todd couldn't make it. Dorian is with us. Garrison couldn't make it. And CJ is running the controls, letting people in and out of the room and so on. We had a few people on the board sleeping in there a little bit earlier, but here is our board. We want to thank you all for your participation and helping keep the organization running with all the things we have no idea going on in the background, especially Jeremy, who it's like a second full-time job for him. Well, at the moment, his main full-time job. We can cover that another time. I hope things are happening in that world for you, Jeremy. Moving on again. What does SDEBA stand for? I would love to have one of our guests for today read. So Jamie, would you share with us what is our mission statement?
Sure. The San Diego Equality Business Association promotes LGBTQ influence through business ownership, workforce equality, and active consumerism, creating prosperity to support equality, diversity, and inclusion.
Great. As Todd Gloria, our mayor, said last night, when we're supporting each other and supporting San Diego businesses, we're supporting the city of San Diego, because all that taxation and all that sales goes back into our roads and our parks, and maybe someday opening up that pool in Morley Field again. Can't wait for that to open. Your membership in SDBA, if you're new here, or you're a guest, gives you a membership feature on our website. So for instance, I searched on Realtor and right away these 3 popped right up. Or you can put in a specific name. I put in Tamara's name, and she's not here right now to see this. I was hoping she'd get to, but here's what Tamara's record looked like. So when I know when I'm looking for services or for goods that I think would be covered here, one of the first places I always go is SDEBA to see, is there somebody in our community who covers that? So that's part of your benefits. And the app that tells you what's going on. There's gonna be a lot more events on the calendar little by little as we come back to life from COVID. So it's a great other feature to be able to connect with one another. More things that we have educational sessions, social events, the job board, opportunities to advertise and post about your business, free membership in the business networking groups, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and the right to use the SDEBA logo in your materials to let people know you support what we're all about. And finally, I've been teasing this for a while, the mixers. And for a long time, I said, we can't have mixers. I'm so sorry. But as many of you I'm recognizing here saw yesterday, we can have mixers. And yesterday was so sweet. I'm guessing there was over 80 people there at Inside Out. It was a terrific turnout. I didn't get to say hi to half the people I wanted to because we got such a great turnout. So hooray for a return of live mixers. Which look like that. But we are going to continue the power lunches as well. So we have a little bit of a hybrid. And that came up like that again for some reason. So when we all get together like this, we use this time for introductions to be in and out in these kind of settings as well. What is today about? It's to give you a chance to share what you offer to a larger section of the SDEBA community that you might in your normal passings with. Like, as I said, I didn't even get to talk to everyone I wanted to yesterday. Here, everybody hears you. It gives you a chance to learn about what others are offering in the community so you can support them. Doesn't mean buying necessarily from them. It might mean recommending them. Providing education in various areas to our members, like we are going to be having today with our guest, and to help grow the SDEBA family, because it's a great way for people to drop in and not feel like it's a huge commitment to be with us for the hour today. What this isn't is exclusive by industry, so it's possible some people will overlap, and that's totally fine for the power lunch. It's not a chance to learn about each other's businesses intimately because we don't have time in an hour. It's a chance for a little of a teaser so that you might reach out to people one-on-one to get to know them better. It's not a replacement for the BNGs. The business networking groups is an opportunity every week to meet with the same people and get to know their businesses so well that you can honestly just, instead of saying, oh, I met someone, she seems nice, to be actually say, no, nobody knows more about solar than Kelly. I can't imagine recommending an agent other than fill in the blank. So we get to know these people really well with our weekly meetings. It's like your little work family. It's not a commitment. If you can't be here today because a client thing comes up and you're going to make some money, you should be there. But anytime you don't have a commitment from 12 to 1 on the second Wednesday of the month, we hope you'll be with us. And finally, it's not a place to sell to us. Yes, people do take advantage of each other's businesses here, and it's wonderful when that happens, but it's more about creating advocates for you to spread the word of what you do. Who do we welcome? We certainly welcome our SDEBA members, but we want any guests who want to be here to come. In fact, I just got permission since the last one to say that it's going to be free through the end of 21. So if there's ever a time you want to invite somebody for the rest of the year, just do. We have a couple people on the call who are not members today, and we're glad that you're with us. Our meeting format is we have this opening that I'm doing right now. Then we'll go through our member introductions. We'll have our guest interview with Ashley T. Brundage. Ta-da, yeah, good ta-da, very nice. Clutch out of the corner of my eye on that. And we'll announce some upcoming things that are happening. And finally, our official closing will be at 1 if you have a time limit. That said, Ashley has said that she'd be happy to do Q&A after 1. So if you want to linger and hear that, or if you have a question, linger and we'll stay up to half an hour. It might only be 5 minutes, but we'll just see what happens with that. But unofficially, we'll stop. My phone will continue to ring no matter how many times I turn it off. But it's supposed to only be one ring and then go to my cell. And it's not. I'm going to hang up on that so it doesn't keep ringing. I can't do that. Okay. I did try to forward that. Anyway, when is it your turn? How will you know? You'll see the participants window. It's going to go alphabetically from the top down. It starts with a couple of people who are the key people behind the scenes. I'm sorry. Hang on one second. Jennifer, I'm on a meeting. I'll call you later. Hopefully she won't call back again. So when you hear your name being called out, that's when you unmute. You can share orally, or if you know how to do it quickly to get in and out on the 30 seconds, you can do your screen share. And finally, please do remember to remute so we don't hear you once it goes on to the next person. Once you're done with your speaking, we ask you to share your big 5 over in the chat area for people who want to know more about you, your name, your website, your phone, your email, and your LinkedIn. Keeping us on time today, we have Brenda, our timekeeper. Brenda, would you like to share how that's going to work?
Absolutely. Happy Wednesday, everybody. So I've got, everyone's going to have 30 seconds to do your introductions, and you're going to want to make sure that you can see me in one of the circles, in the squares, because at 20 seconds, I'm going to hold up this yellow card here. And this is your visual prompt that you've got 10 seconds remaining in your introduction. And then at 25 seconds, I'm going to hold up this red card here, and this is your stop sign. You should be wrapping up your introduction, finishing that last sentence. And then at 29 seconds, I'm going to say thank you. And that's my hook. And then when you're done with your introductions, please do put your contact information and other ways that folks can follow up with you in the chat.
Terrific. And she says thank you with love. It's
With
just a way of
love.
making sure we stay on time as we go through things. And away we go. So we're going to start at the top of the list. I'm going to stop my PowerPoint so I can let you guys be seen a little bit more. Or I'm trying to. Why is it not letting me? I'm just, that's strange. Where is my stop share?
Milo, I stopped your share for you.
Thank you, because I'm still saying, oh, okay, I'm seeing it in PowerPoint. I thought I was seeing it in Zoom. All right, so then going over the participants list that I can look at right now. CJ, would you like to lead us off and show us how it works?
Absolutely, be happy to. Hi, everyone. My name is CJ Gilbert. I've been a website designer for over 25 years. I help people with their websites, but I do so much more these days. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. I'm going to drop in the chat box a link to my SDEBA resource page where you can always find all of my contact information as well as my free video course to make your website work for you. My special ask, who is that local restaurant or business that you want to make sure you support? Check out this free listing service to make sure they're listed correctly in all the apps maps that are available.
CJ.
CJ Gilbert, thanks so much.
Thanks,
Thank you.
CJ. Nicely done. Next person, Brenda, you want to try your turn? And then we'll go into the alphabetical list from there.
Absolutely. So my name is Brenda Geary. My passion is health and wellness. At my sickest, I was in bed 20 hours on 24 prescription medications, and I wasn't living. I was just existing. I kept trying a bunch of different options. And then I learned about this term called oxidative stress. It literally is linked at the root cause of hundreds of issues. I found out that I could take something that would lower that by 40 to 70%. It changed my life tremendously. So who that needs to learn about the term oxidative stress. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we're going to head into our alphabetical list with Antoine.
Hi, everybody. I'm Antoine. I am a documentary and portrait photographer here in San Diego. This is my studio right behind. I forgot what I was going to ask. I'm trying to finish a documentary portrait project of fathers and son. I am looking for First Nation dads, and I am looking for transgender dads or transgender kids. Please, please, please. I'm really want to finish this project.
Thank you so much, Antoine.
Reach out to me. Thank you.
Keep your ear open for you on that, Antoine. Thanks.
Yes.
Up next, I see Jeremy. You're actually in the list alphabetically there, and I don't know why, because you're in the J's. But would you like to say something?
Sure. Can everyone hear me okay?
Can. We can.
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
So first of all, thank you so much those that came to last night's mixer. I'm going to go a little bit over in 30 seconds, but I just want to recap. If you do get an opportunity to go to Inside Out, be sure to thank Paris and her team. Just to let you know, behind the scenes, they donated thousands of dollars worth of food. We didn't run out. There was plenty of leftovers for about 100 folks that attended. They also heavily discounted our drinks. And so super nice of them. Super fun event. Nice to see the nice showing, and also, you know, Mayor Gloria and Chief of Police David Nislet, Nicole Ramirez, Dave, the president of My Point Credit Union, and Jay Hensley, our presenting sponsor for the event, U.S. Bank, and his team there as well. So very excited, and we actually had interviews with Osias and myself with KSDY Channel 50 prior to the event. So we'll post that. And just a well-around great event. We're going to have plenty more up in the calendar soon, probably throughout the rest of the year, including a return of new member mixers, regular mixers, and these Power Lunch networking events. Also, we've had a lot of interest in starting some new virtual BNGs. So those folks that are not in a BNG that would like to join one, we're going to be starting some virtual ones, and that will allow a more mix of folks that, like, you know, realtor, mortgage rep, insurance. Those are the heavily positions that don't really rotate. So that will allow some folks to get engaged. So thank you to everyone that came. We're very excited about, you know, the future of this organization, and it was a very blessed time. And thanks for those that came.
All right, thank you very much. And now we'll work our way back into the alphabeticals on that. Sorry, back to my Zoom thing. With Ashley herself, would you like to take 30 seconds? She's going to pass on her turn because she's got plenty to say later. Attorney Georgine, you are up.
Afternoon, I'm Georgine Brave. I'm a family law attorney in San Diego for 37 years. I specialize in family law, something that you may not have known. In the 80s, I helped a lot of people who were HIV positive, who couldn't get into lawyers. Nobody would touch them. Nobody would help them. And I got an award from the AIDS Foundation because of that. So I wanted to share that. And now I need to not share that. Okay, so I have a question for you all. Why don't sharks attack lawyers?
Why?
Professional courtesy. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for the laugh, Georgine. Next up, we have Barbara Eldridge.
Hi there, I'm Barbara Eldridge. I'm founder and coordinator of Mind Masters. It's a support system for the small business owner so that on a weekly basis, they can share those challenges, ideas, resources that they need to be able to accomplish their goals. We have weekly meetings. There's 5 here in San Diego. One is in person, the rest are all virtual. We invite people to visit a couple of times. So please, I'll put the address up. Please ask people to come and join us.
Thank you. Okay. Next we have Benjamin. You're on.
Hi, everyone. I'm Benjamin Howard. I'm the founder of Windsor Film Company. We're a Southern California-based production company. I'm a writer, director, editor, and producer who works with a solid team of mostly LGBT filmmakers to craft a lot of corporate and commercial work. We do music videos and narrative fiction pieces as well. Our big project we're currently in development on is our debut feature-length film called Rendezvous, which is a coming-of-age movie about a closeted high school athlete to be shot here in San Diego next April. We're looking for creative, financial, and networking opportunities with local San Diegans who are interested in getting involved with the filmmaking process.
Thank you, Benjamin.
Time well. He must have been practicing overnight. Nicely done. Dorian, you are up next.
Hey, afternoon, everybody. Dorian Brewer, State Farm Insurance. So what I do is I help people recover, we'll manage the risks really of everyday life, recover from the unexpected and realize their dreams. One thing I'm really proud of is State Farm's always on the leading edge of accepting our community. In fact, just last month, we can now do life insurance for individuals with HIV. So that's groundbreaking, really, if any of you are aware. And yeah, I just want to thank you for your time. Dorian Brewer, State Farm Insurance.
Thank you. Next up, jumping down to the J's, we have Jamie Daniels.
Okay. Hi, my name is Jamie Daniels, and with Daniels Property Management, we're family-owned, full-service management company. We combine over 40 years of experience with super modern technology to basically manage single-family homes and condos. We manage them like they're our own. So service is our focus, and we guide owners with financial decision-making to make sure your income-producing property is just that, income-producing.
Nicely done. Jazz, you're our next speaker. Jazz Garcia.
Hi, everyone. Jazz Garcia, Community Relations Officer with SDCCU, San Diego County Credit Union. I oversee a lot of the events, community relations, and our financial literacy. We do provide free financial literacy every single Wednesday, 3 times a day. Anyone can join in the community. And then also I did want to promote also our Stuff the Bus. We do have it on the calendar on the SDEBA website. We're helping homeless students raise money to purchase school supplies when they head back to school. So if you can promote that or help out, that would be great. Thanks, everyone.
Yes, just go to the SDEBA/events page, and it's posted for a few months out there so that you can get more information on that. Thank you for sharing it with us. And oddly enough, in the J's, that's the end of our list today. I don't think we've ever not had some M's and S's except for me. So I'm going to take my shot here right now as I go over to share screen again. So I'm a public speaking coach, as most of you are aware. And one of the things I came across recently with my clients is that not everyone, like this woman, are very good at just talking into the camera for several minutes. But we all know we need video on our websites and our social media. So I started businessadvantage.xyz, where I actually interview people who want that for their website. We work out the questions in advance. It's like your own little Oprah episode that's just for you. And I look fascinated by everything you have to say. That's part of my role, as well as helping you work out the right questions to keep it nice and tight. So check out Business Advantage XYZ for anyone in your life who isn't so good on camera. And that takes care of that. So I'll stop sharing so that Ashley can share if she wants to. And this takes us to our portion where we have our guests. So Ashley T. Brundage, since transitioning in 2008, has worked tirelessly to promote awareness and acceptance of gender identity and expression. She works to accomplish this goal by volunteering in the community and holding education sessions for corporations. She serves in the the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce, which is NGLCC, on its Corporate Advisory Council and its new Global Trans Plus Inclusion Task Force. More about Ashley's fascinating life and her business at empoweringdifferences.com. Real easy website to remember, empoweringdifferences.com. Ashley, thanks for being with us and welcome to the program.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yes.
I'm thrilled to be here.
I first saw you as a participant in a conversation at NGLCC. I was like, write down that name, want her as a guest sometime. So let's just jump right in. You had an unusual turn. Okay.
Oh, I was on the stage. I think when we met, I was on the stage in Vegas with the Royal Crown Prince Mavindra from India.
I had forgotten that. I had met you that time too. I was thinking about it on a Zoom session, but you're right with the Royal Crown Prince.
Yes.
I'd forgotten about that.
I was on the stage then.
Okay. Yes, I do remember that now that you said it. So jumping into the work-related stuff, tell me about your journey to find employment, because I know that was a challenge for you.
Wow. Oh my goodness. That was quite an undertaking. Post 2008 economic crisis. And honestly, it was just difficult finding a job, kind of in the same kind of environment right now that we're navigating through, where there's a lot of people out there looking for jobs. I have to tell you that I started showing up to job interviews and I had not yet fully transitioned. I was living a double life. Part one and part two, it was kind of back and forth because I didn't, like, finding a job was going to be one of those things that might be the thing that makes it to where I can't live authentically. Because it's that way for many in the transgender community, which is why the trans community has 40% unemployment and 40% underemployment. So that means 8 out of every 10 transgender people you meet are either unemployed or underemployed. And I knew that going into it, but I was like, wow, what am I going to do? How am I going to overcome this kind of obstacle? And I started showing up to job interviews and not authentically. And that's when I realized that my prior work experience, while very, very good, because I worked for 12 years in the restaurant industry, and when I left, I was running a team of 50 people. I had great experience. And quickly, I realized during conversations with HR professionals that I could really kind of use my privilege as presenting as a white, cisgender, straight male to move through the interview process really quickly and be able to get an entry-level job. And so one company said, oh, we'll just show up tomorrow and we'll do your paperwork and everything. It'll be your second interview, but we'll get you going. And I said, oh, okay. And I just sat there the next day at night at home. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going to have to work this hard again from the bottom, I'm going to do it and be me and be authentic. So I showed up to that second interview as Ashley the very next day and was told, oh, I'm sorry, you don't have a job interview here today. And by other employers, I started getting told, oh, you have the wrong address. Please leave. I actually had the cops called on me. I got trespassed. That was my lived truth in showing up with my authenticity for entry-level jobs. And I said, you know what? There's got to be a better way. And that's when I figured out that I could use empowerment to be the secret recipe for success, to drive through these differences. And so then literally it was that day that Empowering Differences was formed.
Now there was a certain spot along the way from being a part-time teller at a bank to being a VP of diversity inclusion. How did you make the leap from just I'm doing this as a career to, no, this is my career?
Right. So I did finally, after 40 no's from companies, I used this 4-step process of empowerment to really be able to find the right kind of employer that was going to hire me not just because they were hiring someone, but that they knew that there was going to be an opportunity for development. I knew there was going to be an opportunity for development. And so I went through that process. I finally found that employer, obviously in the financial services industry. And I started as a part-time bank teller in 2011. And then I grew my career in 4.5 years from teller part-time to be the national vice president of diversity and inclusion. And during that time frame of those 4.5 years, it was not just, I went literally from that point, there was a lot of jobs that I had across the financial services industry. I actually I held Series 7, Series 66 licenses as a registered investment advisor. I did merchant services. I did wealth management. I did banker. I did, you name it, I was doing it. But really the 4-step process that I keep hinting at was my key in growing my career.
It's not too surprising they didn't say we need a VP of diversity. Let's ask a part-time teller. I had a feeling there were some other steps.
Yes.
So let's stop hinting at the 4-step process, because I know that that's one of the mainstays of your teachings. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So, okay. So the 4 steps, I hopefully you all are ready, right? So step 1 is all built around knowing yourself. And if you're sitting here today or watching the replay and you're thinking, oh, well, I already know myself, so boom, step 1 is done. No, please, please know that I built a specialized self-assessment that I'm going to give you access to for free. Yay. Who doesn't love something for free? So go ahead and you'll see that link pop here in just a moment from my good friend, CJ, who's amazingly quick. But the self-assessment will be here, and that's going to be your path to really understanding yourself. It's going to help you understand your privilege. It's going to help you understand your empowerment and lead you to better understand intersectionality as a foundational concept. Because while, yes, I'm trans, and while many on the outside of this world may see that that might be the biggest thing that is my difference, right? Because we all have differences. There are 7 billion different people on this planet. Actually, it was my not going to college and not graduating college that was my biggest intersectional barrier to growing my career in the financial services industry. So realize that as you start adding, and then I'm Jewish, and then I'm a woman, and all of these things are a part of my intersectionality. But then as intersectionality increases, privilege can potentially decrease. And understanding that it moves like that will be something that will hopefully you will gain in this process of step 1 of really getting to know yourself, which leads to step 2. And step 2 then is about knowing others. And in order to know others, the resources that I provide for that is for you to really put in the work. You have to be able to talk about who you are, what community you are a part of, your differences, and know the data behind the differences. So I showed up in these job interviews and in interviews during my career development around trying to really be able to position my differences. Early on in my career, it was the trans community. That was the thing that was causing people pause, because people weren't interacting with other people from the community. So I had to be on the offensive. Okay. And what I mean by that is I had to be able to position my differences as a strategic advantage. And if I was going to talk about the transgender community or my status as a transgender person in a job interview or in a pitch, I needed to not just talk about it as me, only me. I needed to say that I'm one of an estimated 2 million transgender people who live in this country. And by positioning it like that with 1.999 million of my other friends, I then have the power behind it. And I have the empowerment, which is the data and the numbers. If you don't come with the data and the numbers in your pitch, and you don't come with the data and numbers in anything that you're doing as a business owner or an entrepreneur, then you don't have the empowerment. So you really have to put in that work to know all of the things about you and then who else is around you. So this knowing others concept is really important.
And I would think the data, numbers, those kind of things help it. They seem less like, who am I to speak for them? Everyone is an individual. Yes, but with the data, you can say, 72% of people also agree that, to be able to not feel like you're just representing yourself.
Yeah. Well, and I think that it also helps to get people to really gauge that comfortability, right? Because if they're not comfortable with you, they're not going to do business with you. If they're not comfortable with you, they're not going to hire you. Literally all those things are interconnected. So you have to build the comfort level with everyone else that you're going to be interacting with. And that's really where you get from this empowerment mission. So that leads us to step three. Yay! So step 3 then is to develop your strategy. And what I mean by that is not just around how you're going to empower your differences, okay? Because there are times where I need more, like I mentioned, I'm empowerment around the transgender community wasn't so much what I needed to grow my career. It was the empowerment around my education level. So that was me developing my strategy around the differences. But also you have to start developing a strategy around how you're going to use the empowering actions. And that is the perfect bridge to you growing your career, which is the 10 empowering actions to leverage change, which is step 4, to do the empowering actions over and over again, but basically, AKA take action. So you have to develop your strategy around your differences, what places to use, when to use them, how to strategically use your differences as an advantage. But then you're also developing your strategy around how you're going to take action. And that's the 4th step, is those actions. So I outlined 10 empowering actions to leverage change. And so you'll also see that I created a coupon code, which, as you know, SDEBA, boom, boom, boom. So that actually is the coupon code that you can use for all of my tools and resources that are available on my website, which obviously, includes a book, the best-selling book, Empowering Differences, but also there's a workbook which really helps you leverage change and helps you really connect to those actions, because taking action is literally where we're at in this world. If you were wanting to know about diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, social justice, all of these words that people are using as buzzwords sometimes, and I've heard the acronym JEDI. Are there any Jedi Knights on this line, right? Justice, equality, equity, diversity, and inclusion. That would be JEDI. If anybody's passionate about those concepts, this is exactly a perfect recipe for you. It will help you better connect with your client base. It will obviously lead to more empowerment. And empowerment is giving power and authority to others. It's a selfless act that then provides the empowerment for others. So that's really what this is all about. That's the 4 steps.
I want to ask you more about the empowering actions, but I noticed also that you use the word differences a lot, but I don't hear you use the word diversity as much. And so I know you have a favoring of the word differences. Can you explain why?
Yes. So the word diversity tends to give probably about 35 to 40% of the people who hear it pause. You'll have a large portion of that number will hear diversity and think, oh, that doesn't apply to me. And I can tell you that I've been one of those people before transitioning. I thought, oh, well, diversity, that's a program that doesn't apply to me. That's definitely a threat to my existence in the organization and my growth as an individual. So people see diversity and they immediately think that. But then also, for the opposite end of the spectrum, diversity could also be viewed as a way of pandering. It actually, initial diversity programs and corporations started as a spawn from affirmative action. And so if any of you know what affirmative action is built on, it's built around minimum representation in organizations. It's not necessary. I mean, obviously the output was a good thing in trying to get more people of color and more people with disabilities and veteran status to be represented in organizations, but the minimum representation behind it was not necessarily its best course of action. So there are people who don't trust diversity programs as well because of that. So the word differences technically really applies to every single human on this planet, right? All 7 billion different people, no two people are alike. So really, when you look at what does diversity actually mean, and it actually means differences. So with it being the definition of differences, why scare people with diversity when you can just continually say differences, and then you know that we all have differences.
Right. Even the cisgender white male has their things that make them different. So
yes,
we all celebrate the differences. I see someone pointing themselves like, yeah, that's me. That's me. Years
yes,
ago,
totally.
A woman told me that she got a job, and she said, I'm pretty sure part of it was the fact that I got it because I was a woman. I wasn't bidding against her, but I said, you know, I'm a short Jewish homosexual and I get nothing out of any of those. So where is my celebrating of differences? Of course, now I get my LGBTBE, but this was years ago. So let's go back to the empowering actions. What are some of your favorites that you can share with us?
Oh my goodness. Well, all 10. But I mean, obviously empower is, and if you'll notice, as you start going through my course, my online course, because I do have an asynchronous learning platform, which is really a great way to engage. As you go through this, you'll notice that that I have them in a specific order. And like I mentioned earlier, developing your strategy around how you use the actions and how you prioritize them is going to be really important for you. So this is the order at which I used it to grow my career. So empower was number 1, and I had to lead with empowerment really specifically because of those 2 differences that I was really trying to overcome: the transgender community, and I had to come with the NGLCC economic study. I don't know how many job interviews and pitches that I've literally used that economic study. And if CJ's here, he could pull that nglcc.org/report and put that in the chat. But that economic study has literally saved my life in so many conversations with people because, talking about right, $1.7 trillion of just the LGBT businesses in America.
Wow.
Yeah. And when you say that in a pitch, like, oh my goodness, and you get people's attention to really why it's important that you are an LGBT BE, as I am. And that's the power behind it. So having that connection and being able to make that point, that's the empowerment. So that is literally using power and authority that was given to you by the NGLCC. They gave you that study for that use. It was empowerment in action. So that's one of my big favorites. And then as I have them in order, I guess I'll skip around a little bit. Inclusion is another one of my really amazing favorites because I really love the belonging that you get, the representation, inclusive leadership traits that I go through around this concept of using the action of inclusion, but also culture. So oftentimes I'll work with an organization and we'll nglcc.org/report. So oftentimes I'll work with an organization and we'll talk about, right, who is in charge of culture. So Milo, who's in charge of culture at SDEBA?
Well, that's a good question. If we actually have a person who's in charge of culture, I would probably guess that it would be a board kind of joint feeling.
Close.
Okay. Are you going to say I am?
Everybody.
Okay.
It was a trick question.
I got too late.
Everybody is in charge of culture. If you think it's the CEO, if you think it's the board, if you think it's the chief culture officer, if you think it's the diversity and inclusion person, you are highly mistaken. It is everybody is in charge of culture, even the janitor, even the security person, you name it. Everyone is responsible for that. So that's a good takeaway for inclusion.
And it's empowering ourselves to think of it that way.
Yeah.
One of the best ways, I know Barbara's gonna be like, one of the best ways to empower ourselves in our lives and in our business is to empower others, to help them rise, makes us rise with them. So what can we do to empower others better?
Oh my goodness, I'm ready for this one.
Oh, good.
Well, I mean, I think number one, you need to be to the next SDEBA event. If you don't bring somebody who's LGBT to come and see the value in getting their business certified, every single person on this line and watching the replay better be thinking about bringing someone else to get their business certified. Growing certification rests with every single one of you. And that's what I did. I actually did an inventory, and if you should know exactly how many members are certified members for the chamber here. I did the inventory of how many trans and gender nonconforming members we had across all of the NGLCC affiliates in the United States in 2018. And any guesses in the chat on how many we had in 2018 trans and gender nonconforming LGBTBs? Let's make this interactive.
You're
Right, Milo?
talking about a percentage?
Numbers, raw number. How many businesses were LGBTBEs who were trans and gender nonconforming in 2018? Pop quiz.
If anybody else types anything before I put my guess in.
Are we talking about in the US or
the whole US? The whole US. Yeah.
How many were registered LGBTBEs?
Yes. Yes.
I'm gonna say it's crazy low. I'm gonna say like 25.
Okay. Any other guesses?
I was gonna say 100, but I'm probably overshooting. Yeah.
Okay.
And what year were you talking about? You talking about last year?
2018.
2018.
Yeah. 2018. All right. Go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So let's see here. Milo, you're really close. It was 26.
Oh wow. That's darn. There's no prize.
I know. Too bad there was no prize.
I had a feeling it was low because it's just been a slow process getting people to know this process is out there, that it's not very difficult, and that there are benefits in being one. So given how hard it's been to get even gay and lesbian people to do it, I would think it would be even a much smaller percentage of trans. That's why I said that number.
But honestly, when you think about it, the easiest person to get certified, well, the person that immediately benefits the most for certification is a gay, white, cis male.
Because they already have those advantages going for them.
Well, because they're the ones that wouldn't qualify in any other potential category.
Yes. Right.
Right.
Short Jewish
diversity. So really they should be like jumping in all over this LGBTBE status, right? When you think about it, when you think about the differences. All right. So I decided to take my call to action that I've given you all, right? Which was make sure you bring somebody to get certified. And if you're thinking about who to approach somebody who is white, cisgender, gay male, because that person really immediately can turn themselves into a minority business that quickly.
And for those people who are in solopreneur situations, it's even easier for you because you don't have to come up with a percentage of your staff or a percentage of your ownership. If it's just you qualify.
It's a no-brainer.
As a member of SDEBA.
Exactly. Yeah. 51% owned, operating, controlled is ultimately the biggest, barrier or hoop. So if you start giving away ownership of your company, you have to obviously be careful in that realm. But okay, so I took my own medicine, said I literally know more than 100 trans entrepreneurs in the United States. I know that we can get this number higher. All right, so now today, after my efforts on creating the trans, because we started the trans inclusion task force in 18, we started advocacy, we started outreach, a pandemic happened, all of that, right? How many do we have today? What's the guesses? And everybody better give a guess here in the chat. Any number flies, okay? You know it's not 20, you know it's more than 26. All right, we have a winner.
It better not be 79 exactly again, because I'll feel weird.
400.
Oh,
Brenda is our winner.
That's a huge change just for your effort.
So
That's
we have
amazing.
400 now, which actually today, right now, 400 that are in process or in the process of gaining their certificate, or are certified or in the process of certification right now. And out of those 400 businesses, that is now going to represent 25% of all of the LGBTBEs around the entire country are trans and gender nonconforming. So you're going to tell me that I couldn't, if I could do that on a national level and grow that much,
yeah,
you all should have hundreds of LGBTBEs in SDEBA when I come and talk to you all in person at sometime later this year or next year.
It should definitely be more. I think a lot of people don't realize that while there's no legal necessity for people to be hired as in our category, a lot of corporations have decided for themselves, we are going to expect similar numbers to minority in other ways, and handicapped, and what's the word, veteran. So if they have set that in motion, then the managers have to, if they don't get enough gay people, it's like they're not meeting the numbers their companies have expected of them. And if there's only 400, your odds are way higher of getting picked for something. But we can talk about LGBTBE another time. I know you're on the National Board of GLAAD. Can you talk a little bit more about your role there?
Of course, yeah. And I have to tell you that, well, and I've gotten promoted since then. I'm now the vice chair of the National Board for GLAAD. We have so many exciting things coming up. Spirit Day, we'll be live streaming the Spirit Day concert on October 20th. So be looking out for that. We're going to be back to in-person events with Spirit Day. So we're pretty excited about that. We did have to cancel our in-person GLAAD Media Awards for 2 straight years, which was quite a bummer. Which, yeah, basically we took about a $4 million hit, $2 million each year in revenue hit from not having those in-person events. But we're going to be roaring back for 2022 GLAAD Media Awards. I can give you kind of a little hint. We're going to have some really awesome people there, and you know, might even going to be shaking it out a little bit in LA. So there's that. But there's a lot of really amazing stuff happening in GLAAD, and I don't know if you've noticed, but we just released the Social Media Safety Index, which is a huge priority. So if you're ever curious to know that that website, CJ, I put CJ to work here, is of course www.glaad.org/SMSI.
And it's GLAAD with 2 A's.
What's that?
GLAAD with
yes.
2 A's.
Thank you. Yes.
Typing, listening and typing at the same time. Tell us, I want to give you a chance before we run out of time to tell us just a little bit more about your online course and how people can get in touch with you.
Yeah. So yeah, you can email me, Ashley@empoweringdifferences.com.
CJ.
Yeah. At Ashley T. Brundage is all my social handles. And then my company is at Empowering Diff. Because differences is too long of a word. So there's that. And then, yeah, so my online course is an asynchronous learning platform. So you actually log into my course. So online course bundle is the page on my website. And once you log in there, you watch over 6 hours of Ashleyisms, all for your enjoyment. And so there's video content that's produced, stylistic video content that goes through the introduction of the course. And then you go into the course materials. You can actually download all basically the book, the workbook. You download the self-assessment. Obviously, you all hopefully have the self-assessment already. You fill out the self-assessment because that's that early part. Remember, that was step 1 is getting to know yourself. Step 2 is you doing the research. Step 3 is developing the strategy. Step 4, take action. And then the rest of the course helps you take action, helps you build the strategy and take action. And so as you go through that, you'll see that the workbook mirrors the course, but it obviously has lots of additional resources to help you in your journey of empowerment. Because empowerment applies to all, and it builds the connection for how we strengthen our world.
Cool. I don't have a ton of announcements. I want to sneak in one more question. How can we be better allies to the trans community?
Well, I think that definitely build up trans entrepreneurship. I can't tell you how difficult it is to get hired at a major corporation as an out transgender person. I just told you the story, so you know that it's not easy. So if you do happen to know somebody who is in a hiring capacity, you should definitely use one of the 10 empowering actions and influence them, right? Because how you influence, and I know that that's part of your mission statement as an organization, is how you influence others. So that should really be built into the kind of change that you make for the trans community. But pull out your phone right now and just type in Black Trans Lives Matter and search that hashtag and follow the first 10 Black trans advocates, because they're the ones that definitely need your empowerment. Not that I won't take your empowerment. I'll definitely take your empowerment, but definitely give them your empowerment, because we're being, like, literally Black transgender people are being murdered at a 95% commensurable rate compared to white transgender people. So just
not even
know
towards the population in general, that's just toward white trans people,
that Black transgender women are being murdered 95% more than white transgender women.
Wow.
Okay, so there's a reason for that. That's because they're not only fighting transphobia, they're also fighting racism. So just knowing that that exists and knowing those two things will help you provide more empowerment for them, because really that is what will make a stronger community for the transgender community.
It's been great chatting with you, and I know you're going to linger for some Q&A afterwards. I just got to do a few more announcements so that we can let people who need to go on time at once. So back to sharing screen.
Yay.
And I already had our guest. Our next power lunch, which will be a month from now-ish, August 11th, our guest will be, come on, there we go, Hallie Lorenzato of Point of View Consultancy, with her program, If I Were You, that she goes into organizations that working on the power of empathy. Hallie focused her entire master's program on empathy specifically, and she's going to be sharing with us how to put ourselves in the position of other people to get along with them better, and how that will help our businesses. Testimonials, we're not going to have time for testimonials today, but here's one I would certainly give. Dorian sure knows his stuff when it comes to insurance. You can follow us at our Facebook page, which is our long name, facebook.com, San Diego Equality Business Association. And on LinkedIn, the Tiny URL is just easier than our other one, tinyurl.com/LinkedIn SDEBA. Our lunch, if you ever want to tell people about the Power Lunch and what we're about here, you can go to our sort of new Power Lunch with the hyphen in it, power-lunch.com. And you can see past events there. We're going to have Ashley up there before too long. We do have more than March. This is outdated. But if you go to the website, that is up to date. So you can see past events there. Our distribution list, if you're not getting stuff from us, please add at sdeb.org as a safe sender on your allow list. And if you're a guest and you want to get our stuff, you don't have to be a member to get our stuff, because we're hoping you'll eventually become a member. You can join on the sdba.org homepage and just be on our mailing list. It's right there, join SDBA, and that's it. If you want to become a member, Dorian would be happy to tell us more, because he is our membership chair. So you can reach out to him at that email address. That's a little hard to remember. So if Dorian's listening, he can put it in the chat for when we save chat at the end. Right up, like right about now. Best way to save the chat is to click those three dots and just click the save chat that pops up. It'll save it to the file. It's named at the bottom. Where that goes on your computer, that's up to you to find. But it's under a folder called Zoom, whether you're on Mac, whether you're on PC, at least it's under a folder called Zoom in both places. If you're on a tablet, I don't know what happens. Our thank you of the month goes to our volunteers for Pride. We didn't get to see them this year, but I missed their happy smiling faces at the festivals. So it's not too soon to be contacting Pride if you'd like to be on board, because there will absolutely be a festival next year, because we were craving it this year. So you can reach out to sdpride.org, and thanks to the dozens of years, decades of years rather, that we've had people volunteering their time for that. Our final thought comes from Judith Light, who simply says, you know, gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, people are people. It's how simple that is and how true. For our Pride Month. The rest of the world can think it's June. We know it's July here in town. Thank you all for being with us. If you have any comments, you can send them to the organization, info@sdeb.org, edba.org, or to me, milo@miloshapiro.com. And that's all, folks. So we're going to wrap up the sharing here and wrap up the recording. As we say goodbye, we will see you August 11th for the next episode of the Power Lunch. See you then. And with that, if you'd like to stick around and have any questions for Ashley, she's been kind enough to say that she will stay on for a little bit longer. Anyone? A couple more people have to go. I think we must have asked a lot of questions.
It was awesome.
Thanks, Brenda. Thanks as always for your help.